Have you ever wondered if a single small act of kindness could truly change the course of someone's life? Not just make their day better, but actually shift their entire future. Tonight, I want to share with you a story that proves just how powerful a single act of kindness can be. So, lean in, because what you're about to hear may just change the way you look at the world around you forever. It was a chilly winter evening, the kind where the cold seeps through your coat and makes your hands numb, no matter how tightly you stuff them in your pockets. On the corner of a busy city street, a young boy sat on the ground, shivering. His clothes were worn out, his shoes barely holding together, and his little fingers rubbed against each other in a desperate attempt to find warmth. People walked by without even noticing him. Some glanced, some frowned, but most just kept walking. After all, everyone had their own problems, their own lives to rush back to. But then, someone stopped. Her name was Sarah. She was in her mid-30s, rushing home after a long day of work. She almost didn't see him at first, but something made her pause. Maybe it was the way his eyes stared at the ground, hopeless, like he had given up on being seen. Or maybe it was just a voice inside her that whispered, "Don't walk away." Whatever it was, Sarah stopped, crouched down, and asked gently, "Hey, are you okay?" The boy looked up, startled. His eyes were tired, older than his years, and he shook his head. "I'm just cold," he whispered. "That's all," he said. "No begging, no asking for money. Just cold." Now, Sarah could have given him some coins, or maybe walked away with a guilty heart like many others did. But something in that moment stirred inside her. She took off her scarf, a thick woolen one her mother had knitted for her, and wrapped it carefully around his neck. The boy's eyes widened as warmth touched his skin. But Sarah didn't stop there. She asked him if he had eaten. He shook his head again. So, she stood up, took his hand, and led him into a small cafe just down the street. Inside, the warm air wrapped around them. Sarah ordered him a hot chocolate and a bowl of soup. As the steam rose from the cup, the boy wrapped his tiny hands around it, as if he never wanted to let go. He drank slowly, savoring every drop. Sarah watched quietly, her heart heavy with unspoken questions. Where were his parents? Why was he alone? She simply stayed with him, offering her presence, her silence, and her kindness. When the boy finished eating, Sarah asked for his name. "Daniel," he said softly, "just Daniel." And for the first time that night, he smiled. But it changed Daniel's world, because Sarah didn't just walk away after that. She contacted a local shelter and made sure Daniel was taken somewhere safe. Over time, with the help of people who cared, Daniel found stability. He went back to school. He started building a new life. And years later, when Daniel stood on a stage receiving an award for his achievements in community service, he told his story. He spoke about the night he thought no one cared. The night he thought he would freeze in the cold, invisible to the world. And then, one woman stopped. One kind act. A scarf, a bowl of soup, and a hand that reminded him he mattered. Daniel said, "That night saved my life. Not just because I was cold and hungry, but because it gave me hope. It made me believe again that people can care. And that hope is what carried me through everything else." Pause for a moment and think about that. Sarah didn't start a charity. She didn't spend thousands of dollars. She didn't even plan to be a hero. She just listened to the quiet voice inside her that said, "Stop, help, care." And that changed the entire course of Daniel's life. Now, I want to ask you something. How many times have you walked past someone who looked like they needed help? Maybe it wasn't a child on the street. Maybe it was a coworker sitting quietly at their desk, hiding the fact that they were struggling. Maybe it was a friend who stopped calling as often, or a family member who seemed more distant than usual. Sometimes, the people who need kindness the most are the ones who never ask for it. And here's the beautiful truth. Kindness doesn't have to be big or dramatic. It doesn't always look like donating huge sums of money or starting a movement. Sometimes, it's as simple as listening when someone speaks, sending a message to check in, sharing a meal, or just smiling at a stranger who feels invisible. To you, it might feel small, but to them, it might mean everything. Let me tell you something else. Years after that night, when Sarah met Daniel again, he told her, "I carry that scarf with me even now. Not because I need it, but because it reminds me of the night someone saw me." Think about that. A scarf became more than fabric. It became a symbol of being seen, being valued, being cared for. That's the power of kindness. It plants seeds we can't always see. Seeds that can grow into hope, courage, and even a whole new life. So here's the challenge I want to leave you with. Be someone's Sarah. You don't know whose life you might touch with a simple act. Maybe you'll never hear about the impact you made. Maybe you'll never see the results. But somewhere, somehow, a life could shift because of you. And isn't that worth it? Take a breath. Imagine if each one of us decided to do just one kind act a day. Think of how different our communities would feel. Think of how much lighter the world would be. Because kindness isn't just about helping others. It transforms us too. It reminds us of our humanity, our connection, and the truth that we're all in this life together. As you go through your day today, remember Daniel's story. Remember Sarah's choice. And remember that kindness doesn't need an audience, a stage, or recognition. Its true power lies in its quiet ability to change lives in ways we may never fully understand. And if this story touched you, if it made you pause and think about the power of kindness, then let's spread that message. Share this video with someone who needs a reminder that kindness matters. Comment below and tell us about a moment when kindness changed your life, when you had the chance to change someone else. And if you believe the world needs more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe. Together, we can build a community that chooses hope, compassion, and kindness every single day. Because sometimes all it takes is one kind act to change a life.